Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Harebrained Games. Merry Christmas to you all as we head into the season. This is the second in a series of videos related to Christmas suggestions that I have for you this holiday season. I finished the casual games, which will be in a video before this one if I did it right. If I didn't, then it'll either not be there or be in one later, which will make no sense. So let's make sure I do it right. In this case, we're dealing with Avid board games. These are not the most deep, complicated board games, but they are ones that you will want a concerted, aware board gaming group venue to be able to play. These are not ones you're going to want to go, hey, Grandpa Elaine, want to play this game? It's, when he's at the eggnog table drinking silly juice. So these are games instead that are ones that you may look at as interesting for avid board gamers in a variety of different senses. So first off, I'm going to say that Slay the Spire. Can you get a hold of it? If you can, it is an excellent game. A lot of people have played the video game, and some people are like, just buy the video game. It's $10. The board game is a lot more expensive, and it is. But if you do get it, and you do want to work together, four people, to have that experience, but have it not just be rote and boring, but actually have it be really respectful to it. In Slay the Spire, you're going against a variety of different creatures and monsters in progressively more difficult challenges, using cards and building cards and improving cards, etc. So if you can get a hold of it, unfortunately it's not readily available right at this moment all the time, but it is some of the times. Next we have a game that is readily available, and I do highly recommend for 2 players, however, and that is Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth. Now I liked Seven Wonders Duel. I particularly liked it better for 2 players. Obviously that's what the duel part is. But Lord of the Rings takes that and imbues a sense of purpose in the Middle-earth vibrant fantasy in regard, and it does so surprisingly well. The things it adds, I think, are better. There are a few things I kind of wish were kept from the original, but all told, it is an excellent 2-player game to bring out if you're at a family event and everyone but one other person around you likes board or doesn't like board games. And then next we have a game that I do really recommend that's come out this year, and I can say, if you have, again, you wouldn't throw this on the ticket to ride people right away, but the game is called Let's Go to Japan. In Let's Go to Japan, you and the 3 other players, I believe, are basically making your way across Japan. You're going to journey. You're going to spend a few days, and you're going to go see things in one of the 2 major cities and points in between. What makes this less casual than, say, Tokaido, or some of the other games that kind of have you just kind of breezing along, you do have to plan and track your travel. Is your travel wearying? Are things going to be more exhaustive for you? Then that's going to swing one way that isn't necessarily optimal. On the other hand, you go see delightful and wonderful things, and that's going to swing back, and you're going to have this fulcrum of balance as you create these days and you fill out these days with just the right amount of stuff. I mean, if everything's too happy, you probably won't optimize stuff. On the other hand, you take risks, and as you go, if you stay in the same city, you can travel pretty well. If you bounce between cities, you're going to pay the cost of the weariness of that. Really great modeling of that. So Let's Go to Japan. I'm mentioning this one as a 2-player game again, and unfortunately it is now not nearly as available as it was. But if you can find Trick Shot 2nd edition anywhere, grab it. It is as someone who loves sports but has not found very many great sports games, or just hasn't felt satisfied with a lot of the sports game simulations. I'm just not into that. I want the real thing. Trick Shot is the closest thing to hockey incarnate in modeling everything about hockey that goes on. It's basically built by people who clearly know the game, but also clearly know fun. So if you can get a hold of that, do so. Black Forest, Uwe Rosenberg, from those who've known Agricola and Host Hallertau and a bunch of other games. Black Forest is a nice, pleasant romp. It's a re-envisioning of a previous game, Glass Road, but you have this rondelle that moves, and as you move, you've got this puzzle of how you allocate resources. Sounds boring, but it's not. In order to go through the Black Forest and build up your little portion of it, and it's Yeah, it's a nice thing that showed up about a month ago, and I think it's nice value for you all. So then we have SAS Rogue Regiment. This is another one that unfortunately is out of stock in a lot of places, but if you want to play a really fun cooperative Metal Gear Solid-like game, this is the closest thing I've ever seen to it. Again, I know this is getting a little more warlike than a lot of Christmas fare, but nevertheless, I'm going to go a little off script because these are the games that really just kind of made you feel like, Hogan's Heroes in a serious way, or not really. The other games, Guns of Navarone and stuff where you're trying to infiltrate and do things across this map. The components are out of this world. The new Kickstarter's out already for it. So, but that's not going to help you at Christmas. If you can find it, power to you. And another one that I'm going to suggest is Tales of the Red Dragon Inn. This isn't a fairly new game, but if you want the funnest, most just over the top, just fun, just have fun, romp of a quest. If you're like, Gloomhaven's great, but you have hundreds of hours of like deep thinking, and and other games are just over the top with it. It's so much an investment. Tales is so less of an investment. You don't have to do any map setup. It's like it just prints it out on the page, and you have really fun dialogue. You have really fun antics that are going on as you and other characters are playing their roles. So Tales of the Red Dragon Inn. Then, if it's still around on Amazon, it was wealthy in supply. There's a game called Monumental. Monumental is a breezy 4X civilization game that holds its own very, very well in regards to a unique approach, semi-unique approach on building out your civ. You've got a map, it's dynamically created, or you create set-piece maps. You have your units, you move them around. They don't do too much interesting other than you use them when you want to overtake and control a given hex. But you also have your own 3x3 grid of cards that forms 3x3, I think, 3 or 4. Anyway, that forms your own little city, and as you do actions on that city, you're going to beef up your own deck, again, a deck of city cards that'll make your city stronger, and all of that to be able to go after. All the civilizations are unique. I bought Monumental, the base game, and then I went ahead and within a day I bought all of the expansions because of how much I was enjoying it. It's not going to be Civilization, the board game, truly, but it's also not as simplistic as some of the others. It's kind of right there in the middle. So, and finally, if you get a chance to play The Last Kingdom and you love The Last Kingdom, you should play The Last Kingdom. Yes, the board is considered drab and boring. It's not the board that gives it the zeal. I wouldn't mind if it was a little better. I mean, it's a very blank map, but it is still purposeful for what we're trying to do, and that is to play The Last Kingdom and to really jockey around with the different alliances and allegiances and how they shift and how they change, and really imbue The Lost Kingdom into it. It's by a very well-known designer, Jean Declaire, who's done some incredible games in the past, and so here again, he's taken the subject matter and done worlds of work with it. So that's it. Those are the games I have, Avid Games. I'm sure there's a lot coming in at Christmas that I've missed or haven't thought of or whatever. Yeah, like there's others. Arborea. Yeah, if you get a chance to play Arborea, do that. That's a clever one. I think I did a review on that one that may or may not be up, but Arborea is like playing a magical land of fairy tale creatures, all made out of Crayola crayons, but it's thinky and meaty and good. So Arborea, I'm going to leave you with that one. So anyway, thanks again. Tell me what games I missed. What Avid games are you going to get your kinfolk? And we'll see you next time on Harebrained Games.